Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So, welcome all the devotees for today's discussion. And this Purushottam month, we have been meeting every day for next 30 days, like for the entire month. So today we'll continue our discussion. Yesterday we were discussing about Lord Krishna married different wives. So Krishna has 16,108 wives. So yesterday we discussed about the principal queens of Krishna. But also we know the story that how Krishna has 16,000 wives and how he married so many wives. I'll just briefly explain and then we learn some important lesson from Krishna's life. So there is this demon called Bhamasur and also known as Narkasur. So he kidnapped and captive 16,000 princesses by collecting them from the palaces of various kings. And they were under the captivity. He was a very, very powerful demon. He attacked the demigods also, Devatas, and he stole, the umbrella of from the throne of Varun Dev, and then he stole some earrings of Aditi, and also there was this Mount Meru. So he occupied the portion of it called the Mani Parvat. So like that very powerful demon, even the demigods were scared. They were not able to face him. So finally, troubled by his atrocities, this Indra, he goes to Krishna and says, Krishna, please help. So immediately Krishna, along with his wife, one of the wives, Satyabhama, sat on the chariot and then he reached to the place called Pragjotishpur. This is the capital of Bhamasur. So he reached there, and that city has been described like how it was protected. Various layers of protection were there. There was, first of all, there is big walls, very strong. Then there is water. Then there is fire. Then there is a fencing of the wires. And like that, there's many layers of protection that nobody could penetrate into that city. But when Krishna went there, Krishna used his club, his gada, and he started breaking everything apart. And this Bhamasura has, other demons also. One of the his right hand demon, very powerful, was the Mura demon. So very powerful. So he came and he fought with Krishna. He was killed, and then finally Bhamasur was killed. So long story short, this Bhamasur, or also known as Narkasur, he was killed by Krishna, and then Krishna went inside, and then he saw that all these young girls, they were all arrested. So Krishna released them, and then they requested that Krishna, you should marry us. So Krishna accepted them all in marriage, and that is how Krishna has these many wives, 16,000 wives. And now the important thing is that though Krishna married all of them, but he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is the Supreme Lord who can reciprocate with each and every individual being. We see Krishna is sitting in our heart as Paramatma expanded himself into that many. So Krishna could easily reciprocate with each and every wife, 16,000 wives. Unlike a common man, if he marries two wives, then he can be with one of them at a time. But Krishna is not like that, limited like the ordinary human being. He expanded himself into that many. So I remember yesterday somebody asked at the end in the chat the question, which was that even the yogis, some of the yogis, they have the power. Uh, they can expand into eight. So how it is different? Yes, and that question itself has the answer. Somebody said that yogis can also expand. Yes, some yogis they have some mystic power, they can expand, but the limit is they can expand themselves into eight. Means one individual who's a yogi who has that mystic power can expand in the same time he can be in eight different places. He can expand. But interestingly, he cannot do eight different activities. He can expand himself into eight different places. But whatever he does in one place, the same thing all the eight will be doing. But Krishna's expansion is not like that. Krishna's expansion is very, very, personal to the individual. When he expand for one devotee, he can reciprocate differently, right? And that has been explained that how Narad Muni was very curious when he heard that, so he wanted to see Krishna in Dwarika. And when Narad Muni visited Krishna in Dwarika, he was amazed to see that how Krishna was engaged in various activities in the different palaces with the different queens. Right. So he goes there. So basically, the chapter explains that how Krishna is unlimited, the unlimited nature of Krishna. And also Krishna, through that particular pastime, he teaches that how one should lead a household life. Krishna, as he says that yad yad acharati shrestha tat tat evataro janaha. So he is the Supreme Lord. He is beyond all the rules and regulations of this material world. But when he comes in this material world and he takes up the life of a household, by his personal example, he teaches that how an ideal householder life should be, Grihastha life should be. So Krishna, by his own example, is teaching. And when Narada Muni is visiting him there, and then he saw, he witnessed, he was amazed. And through that particular episode, we can learn, especially the households, the Grihasthas can learn how one should lead their life by Krishna's own example. So many, many lessons from this particular chapter, particular story, that Krishna's unlimited nature, Krishna as an ideal household, and he shows the humility and how he respects the Brahmanas and the sages, the devotees. So when Narad Muni visited, when Krishna saw him, so first he visited the palace where Rukmini and Krishna were staying, and then as soon as the Narad Muni comes there, immediately Krishna gets up and then he receives him. A saintly person has come to the house of a householder. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is beyond all this grasta, vanprastha, sannyasi, but there he is playing that role. So, how a grasta householder should receive if any saintly person comes. So, he's teaching by his example. Narad Muni came, immediately gave him the seat, and then he worshipped him practically with all the paraphernalia and nicely, giving him, offering him various things and like that. And then he asked that Narad Muni that you are a great sage, though you don't need anything, but what can I offer? And like that. And then Narad Muni also, he was amazed to see lots reciprocation, lots, hospitality like that. And he said that you are the Supreme Lord, uh, you are the Param Purushottam Bhagavan. And then Krishna is addressing Narad Muni as Bhagavan, like that. And finally, uh, Krishna says that, my dear saintly Narad Muni, you have come here. What can I offer you as a grasta? So the Narad Muni says that, my dear Lord, it is wonderful, it is amazed to see you like this, and if you're asking me to ask something, then my only ask to you, Narad Muni is asking to Krishna, then I only ask just one benediction that you should give me. And that benediction is that I should never forget your lotus feet. So Prabhupada is teaching that that is the prayer of a devotee, that is a prayer of a pure devotee, and we can learn. If we had to ask anything from Krishna, apart from this, we should never ask anything. This is the greatest benediction. Narad Muni is one of the Mahajan, Mahajana Gathasapanta, following in the footsteps of Narad Muni, the great saint. We should also ask the same benediction that Krishna, please bless me. That as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Matta, Smrtir, Jnanam, Apohanam cha, knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, everything comes from me. So we should pray to Krishna, that remembrance is also comes from you, and then forgetfulness also comes from you. So I pray at your lotus feet that I never forget your lotus feet. I always remember your lotus feet. So that is what the Narad Muni asked. And after that, Narad Muni left from there, and then he goes to various places. So starting from the palace of Rukmani. So here, uh, Krishna is also, he is teaching two things. One thing is like how to respect a sadhu, a devotee. So Krishna, though is the supreme Lord, but he's showing his greatness through his humility. The Supreme Lord is also washing his feet and all of that. And then Narad Muni's teaching is how to ask the benediction. So we can learn two things. How a householder should receive a saintly person, how they should respect them, give them the hospitality with, a lot of devotion, a lot of respect and humility. And then if we ever get the chance to ask anything from Krishna, then ask only that I never forget your lotus feet. Like that. So then Narad Muni left that palace and then he goes to the next palace. And then he saw that Krishna, he was playing chess with one of his wife and Uddhava. So Krishna is showing that, uh, you know, he's enjoying the family pastimes, that it is very important that Krishna consciousness includes the healthy relationship and the joy in the family. So if one can, how one should live the family life, Krishna is teaching that you can spend time with family, playing something with them, and all of that. But the main important thing is Krishna should remain the center. So he saw that Krishna was engaged in playing chess, and then later he went to the another palace. There he saw that Krishna was petting and taking care of the small children. Right. So this also teaches us another very, very important lesson, that a Krishna conscious person or a devotee, uh, you know, is also very careful in taking care of the family. Family care is also the part of the devotional service, which is centered on Krishna. So one cannot, as a household, one should not neglect the household duties toward their spouse and the kids and other family members. So he was like taking the responsibility of taking care of the kids. So family care is also very much part of devotional service. You see the family as, uh, they're all part and parcel of Krishna, and you are one responsible person to take care of all those so many wonderful part and parcel of Krishna, the devotees of Krishna. So like that, a Krishna conscious person naturally feels very, very responsible, and all the responsibilities are centered on Krishna. And then further he goes, Krishna was performing various rituals. Right. Now we know that Krishna, being the Supreme Lord, is beyond all the rules, regulations, rituals, and everything. But again, Krishna has come in this particular pastime, to teach us by his own example, that how it is very important for household people, the Grasta people, that follow the Dharma, all the rituals. So in Krishna consciousness, our rituals are like every day get up early in the morning, attend Mangalarti, chant or japa, and then daily read the scriptures, and then cook for the Lord, offer the bhoga to the Lord, eat only Krishna Prasadam, and then, maintain the house, cleanliness in the house, as the house is the temple of the Lord, and like that. So all these rituals plays very, very significant role. So Krishna is teaching by example that this is also another important aspect of Grasta life. Then he further goes and then he says that he sees that Krishna was sitting with the closed eyes in meditation and doing his Gayatri. Right. So he is demonstrating that spiritual discipline. He is the Supreme Lord. Say, Grasta, life should not be just life of enjoyment, but there has to be spiritual discipline. Dhyans tu vam samsa yashas tri sandhyam. Three times in a day, three sandhya, early morning and then afternoon and the evening. Three sandhya one should, uh, spend some time to remember Krishna, to worship Krishna. So early morning we have the sadhana program. In the afternoon also few minutes we can chant or Gayatri. Those who are initiated, second initiated. Those who are not initiated, you can just maybe 5-10 minutes read some words from Bhagavad Gita. Take a break for 10 minutes, or maybe chant one round of japa. In the evening again, So you come back from your work, take bath, you feel more fresh, freshen up, and then immediately you just go in front of the Lord in your temple in the house, light a lamp, all the family member come together, do some small arti or sing some kirtan, or together you can just read 5 10 minutes Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, some Krishna's pastimes and like that. So when somebody leads this kind of life, it will be a very, very wonderful, blissful, and meaningful life, even in the Grasta life. Otherwise, Grasta become Trasta. All the time, morning to evening, running and exhausted and tired and arguing, fighting, shouting, screaming. And by the time it is evening, you feel like nobody should be around me. Just leave me alone. You're so exhausted. So that kind of life is not a Grasta life. So you bring Krishna consciousness into your life and learn, read all this, and then start implementing, applying all some of those things. This is such a wonderful life. It will be such a blissful life, even in the grasta, with all the wife and the kids, so many responsibility, and you will be very, very blissful and happy. So Krishna, by his own example, is teaching, and Narad Muni is witnessing him, in the various different activity that Krishna is engaged. Further, he goes in the another palace. He saw that Krishna was feeding the brahmanas and giving charity. So here Krishna is teaching another very, very important lessons for all the households, for the grastas, that uh, grasta life means they should share. The real prosperity is by sharing. This is the duty, is the duty of the grasta. They give the charity to the brahmanas, to the saintly people, part of it. It cannot be just keep earning, working hard, keep earning all the money, and then keep enjoying yourself. No, that is not the household life. One should part the share of what you earn should go in the save of the Lord through the Brahmanas, through the saintly people, through devotees, in the save of the Lord, and like that. So Krishna is teaching by his own example. And then Krishna was engaged in consulting with ministers. So he is teaching that politics and governance also is very, very important, especially if somebody is in a leadership role. So Krishna was the king there in the Dwarka. So he was teaching that how a king should be very, very active. And then he was also in one palace. He found him that Krishna was engaged in hearing the scriptures. So he's teaching that Grasta should every day hear Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, daily read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, sometime half an hour, 1 hour, or 15 minutes at least. So this should become the part of. So this is called the complete life, the balanced life. Unlike we see that, in this modern age, the people are leading very unidirectional life. Only work, 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 work. Morning they go early morning 8 o'clock, they come only in the night 8 o'clock, and by the time they're exhausted, tired, they eat, sleep, and then again get up and then run. That is not the complete life. It doesn't bring any satisfaction, any happiness, any contentment. So balanced life. So work is also important, money is also important. Then money should be given in charity is also important. Spending time with the family life, like wife and kids and all that, some quality time, in whatever way you can spend some time, just light talks over the dinner, and then some spiritual time together, spiritual bonding in the evening or in the morning if possible. Just 15 minutes come together, do some little arti kirtan, and read something from the scriptures, hear the scriptures. So this is the complete household life. One should lead the grasta life like that. So Krishna is so like that. Narad Muni goes on, going and visiting different places, and he was amazed to see every time that Krishna everywhere doing, different activities in different palaces with different people and like that. So many lessons can be derived from his. Number one, Krishna is unlimited. Right? He is not ordinary human like all of us. He might look like that, but Krishna is like that Surya, that sun, you know. So the same one sun can reciprocate. So if you put like thousands water pots, so in every water pot you can see one sun. So the Krishna is so unlimited that he can reciprocate with each and every living entity personally. So Krishna is personal God, you know. So he's unlimited and his reciprocation is also unlimited, like that. So our relationship with Krishna is deeply personal. In a one family, four people, everybody can have some relationship with Krishna in their own way, right? And then Krishna is teaching the household life, how a householder, so household life is not condemned, Many times people think, oh no, Prabhuji, you have become Prabhuji. You have joined the ashram, you have become brahmachari, or somebody becomes sannyasi. For you, it is very easy to, practice a spiritual life. But here we learn Krishna's teaching that household life is not condemned. The only thing is learn the right art that in the grastha life also you can be fully 100% Krishna conscious. Just make Krishna the center of your life, and then do all your duties very responsibly with keeping Krishna in center, and your life will be perfect, and it will be very very blissful life, right? And also Krishna is teaching that spiritual life means balance. Everything, work, time for family, personal time, spiritual practices, and the social life, charity, and everything, social responsibility, discipline, and all of that is the part of a balanced life. So, spiritual life means the balanced life, and the important lesson that we can learn from Narad Muni is that whenever you ask, you should ask only one thing: that my dear Lord may never forget your lotus feet. Like that. So these are some of the lessons that we can learn from this particular episode. There's many, many more lessons we can discuss later. But yeah, this is the life that how Krishna was leading an idle household life when he was in Dwarika, and Narad Muni visited him and he was amazed and he was appreciating Krishna. Okay. So that's all for today. And we'll discuss one more story, one more lesson from the Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow. Till then, keep chanting. I'm hoping that everybody chanting. If you're not still chanting,